In a nightmare. How is it possible that in 3 short years we have witnessed such a monumental shift in the global world order that it would leave the Roman Empire shocked and appalled? After all, the Roman Empire took about 200 years to finally collapse. It was a slow burn. This week we saw a number of massive stories that were once again ignored by the mainstream media, from the BRICS nations shaking up the financial system to major geopolitical movements involving Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia. Putin calling for peace, and NATO crapping all over it, saying, no, we don't want your peace. Take your peace and shove it. We want more war.
So this is not a peace proposal?
To Biden, shaking hands with Zelensky, agreeing to fund Ukraine for another 10 years. 10 more years, billions of dollars, while America crumbles. Yes, we're going to send billions to the most corrupt government in Europe.
I think Zelensky is maybe the greatest salesman of any politician that's ever lived. Every time he comes to our country, he walks away with $60 billion.
The winds of change are blowing strong right now, so buckle up because we're going to dive deep into all of this tonight. So let's start with the transformative events recently announced by the BRICS nations. Now, if you're not familiar with BRICS, it started, as the name suggests, as a loose economic and trade partnership between Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And now it's exploded, becoming a powerhouse, creating their very own currency away from the US dollar dominance. And countries are racing right now to join the BRICS coalition and ditch the US dollar. Well, we have 2 huge BRICS stories this week. First, BRICS announced a new payment system that directly challenges the dominance of the US dollar in international transactions. No more SWIFT system. Guys, the currency part of it is one thing, but the infrastructure to settle transactions is now out of U.S. hands. This move marks a significant step away from the dollar-centric global economy that we've been knowing for decades. Even more shocking is the end of a 50-year agreement between the United States and Saudi Arabia, which required the export of oil exclusively in U.S. dollars.
Saudi Arabia has officially ended its 50-year petrodollar agreement with the United States, shifting to a multi-currency system.
So on June 9th, 2024, just a few days ago, this agreement officially ended. That's right. Saudi Arabia officially said bye-bye. The Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has chosen not to renew the partnership with the United States, opting instead to open Saudi oil trade to other countries and other currencies. Hello, China. Hello, Russia. I mean, holy smokes, guys. I mean, I can't understate how big a deal this is.
And you must understand, BRICS is an organization, a bloc that has openly called for de-dollarization. So having Saudi Arabia, the backbone of the petrodollar, join BRICS, you couldn't make up a bigger slap in the face. I can guarantee you, they are not feeling very good right now in Washington, D.C.
This is a massive blow to the status of the U.S. dollar as the world's only reserve currency, a position it has held for 5 decades. Now, we've been warning for months that this was about to happen. With Saudi Arabia now joining China's central bank digital currency project, we are witnessing a seismic shift in the landscape of global trade and global finance. The era of the U.S. dollar as the sole superpower currency is officially over. This is not hyperbole. U.S. dollar dominance is now over. Liberals can try to spin it any way they want, but you're not stupid. And none of those fawning members of the Biden press corps are going to ask the White House about it. They're too stupid to understand how big a deal this is. Last week, U.S. Congressman Thomas Massie appeared on Tucker Carlson's show with an unfiltered breakdown of what's happening to the U.S. dollar. He didn't hold back.
At some point, they're going to quit using our dollars as reserve currency. I mean, I watched your interview with Putin, and one of the things, whether you hate him or not, one of the things he said that is true is when we sanctioned him, before we sanctioned Russia, 70% of their transactions were in U.S. dollars. And after the sanctions, it's less than 20% of their transactions are in U.S. dollars.
As Massie points out, every time the U.S. government introduces a new economic sanction, the world moves one step closer to de-dollarization. The same thing is happening right now with the U.S. government's microchip battle against China. The same thing is happening with AI and electricity with China. The United States has to basically double our electricity output just to compete with China on the AI and microchip front. President Trump just admitted this.
And the electricity needs are greater than anything we've ever needed before to do AI at the highest level. and China will produce it because they'll do whatever you have to do. Whereas we have environmental impact people, and we have a lot of people trying to hold us back. But massive amounts of electricity are needed in order to do AI, and we're going to have to generate a whole different level of energy.
We've fallen so far behind China, it's disgusting. Saudi Arabia is also considering full BRICS membership later this year and is expanding its oil trade to include more countries and currencies. This is a direct threat to the petrodollar system that has propped up the U.S. economy for decades. But the BRICS shockwave doesn't stop there. Something seismic happened on June 10th and the 11th at the BRICS foreign ministers meeting. 59 new countries announced plans to join BRICS. I mean, what? 59 new countries? And during the meeting, they agreed to an astonishing $78 billion in bilateral trade deals. Yes, they publicly announced plans to ditch the US dollar also at this meeting for local currencies in cross-border transactions. So they made this announcement. We're done. We're done using the US dollar. This is game over, folks. Russian President Putin laid it out this week.
One of the greatest mistakes of the United States is they're prohibiting from using dollar as in international payments and using it as a tool, and they're simply undermining the trust towards dollar. It's ridiculous. They should have taken care of the dollar and to preserve it and to raise its profile and its standing. They're simply killing it off with their own hands.
Putin knows exactly what he's doing, allowing these developing countries to start moving away from the US dollar, stop being bullied by the United States. Oh boy. President Biden's foolish sanctions against Russia have turned the world against the US dollar. And China knows exactly what's coming. That's why they've been dumping US treasuries like a bad habit.
And we're also sending a really clear signal, which is the dollar's not safe for you.
Right.
That's the reserve currency because it's a safe haven, because it's a stable country. It's the most stable country in the world, and we're not going to weaponize the dollar because that would be shooting ourselves. But suddenly we are.
This BRICS system seeks to eliminate the global dominance of the US dollar, creating a payment system using local currencies that is free from US sanctions and outside political pressure. And now that NATO has rejected Putin's peace agreement to end the war in Ukraine, we are in for a totally different world over the next few years. So guys, that's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is tied directly to what President Trump was just saying about electrification and competing with China. He knows exactly what is about to happen. That company is Hillcrest Energy Technologies. Now here's their ticker on your screen. And guys, in my opinion, this is like learning about Microsoft before anyone bought Windows, before they even made their very first sale. This is a company with a market cap of just $18 million. And it owns a revolutionary technology that could change electricity production in the world, quite honestly. And again, I personally believe this is like learning about Microsoft on the ground floor level before they sign any deals to put their Windows operating system in millions of businesses. So Hillcrest is the very first company to figure out how to virtually eliminate energy loss when converting electricity from DC to AC power and vice versa. In other words, when you've got solar panels and they're producing energy, then that energy is then stored in batteries or used by a business or a household. There's huge energy loss during that conversion process from the solar to the batteries and vice versa. So this amounts to a lot of wasted energy, billions in wasted dollars. So to fix this would be a massive cost savings for companies and for the power grid. Hillcrest has figured out a way with patented technology to virtually eliminate energy loss. It's called zero voltage switching. And up till now, this only existed in a laboratory environment. Yes, it's been in a lab for years, but Hillcrest has now brought this to market for the very first time, the only commercial grade inverter of its kind in the world, the entire world. And as far as I know, they're years ahead of any competitor in the field right now. So they have huge first mover advantage. Electric vehicle manufacturers, solar, wind farm owners, each local grid, we're talking about the entire global electricity market, are always looking to crack the holy grail for this problem. They all want zero wasted energy and minimal electromagnetic interference, but no one, and I mean no one in the past 120 years has succeeded in manufacturing this. Elon Musk has been talking about this as a holy grail. I mean, imagine manufacturing a commercial grade zero voltage switching inverter. Hillcrest has actually figured out how to do it. And they're already in talks with some of the largest electric vehicle manufacturers in the world right now. So look at their share price. It's barely budged so far. It hasn't even moved. That's because so few investors actually know about this hidden gem of a company. And this just happened weeks ago. Okay, they just made this announcement weeks ago. And then when I found out about it, I asked them to sponsor the show because to me, it's groundbreaking. And when you look at how cheap it is, in my view, I want you to remember that the stock price doesn't price in or even take into account even a single dollar of sales yet or revenue. Seriously, no sales, no revenue just yet. It's that cheap. It's just that cheap. So are you with me? Are you listening? No one has been able to manufacture a functioning zero voltage switcher inverter in the history of mankind until now on a commercial level. Like I said, it's been done in the lab, but it's never been commercialized. Hillcrest Energy Technologies has done it, and their CEO says that they do not believe any other company is even nearing competing with them right now. And their chief technology officer believes that to compete with them would require years, and the competitor would need to assemble just the right team to make it happen. So this is a very difficult undertaking right now. That's first mover advantage in this space, guys. So I want you guys to write this stock ticker down.